right, guys, welcome back. So how can parents prepare their daughters for the roller coaster life of teenagehood, adolescence? We can start by sharing some useful skills that's going to help them get through one of the most unique and probably challenging moments in their life. To help me have this conversation, Kesia Carr, Chief Executive Officer of the National Parenting Support Commission. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
How rough is pre-teenhood? Preteen girl is at a unique moment in her life, this says, and there are countless ways that she will feel pressured to hide her authentic self. Why would she be hiding her authentic self?
That's a year. Well, age 9 through to 14. It's a period of sexual maturation, so commonly called puberty. And with that comes many emotions, many psychological, many physiological and biological changes that parents will have to help their daughters to accept and understand why these changes are occurring. It can be a very tumultuous time, depending on who the child is. Some children cower from the changes. So from about age 11, for example, young girls will have breasts coming in. Some people embrace that. They understand because they would have been prepared. Other children shy away. They feel they don't need the unnecessary attention. And so it's very difficult for them to navigate through those periods.
Yeah. I find it interesting that we're talking about the ways to empower our girls going into adolescence. But boy, this is a lesson. I guess the lesson is really for the parents, but the parents have to embrace it first because it's a difficult time for us as well.
It really is. And the parents can help to make their children feel even more confused, because at one stage you're telling them, oh, you're growing up, but at the other time you might be telling them you're still a child. So we add to the confusion. So it's very important that parents help their children to understand what it is that they are supposed to expect, because it's just a natural part of the transition into adulthood.
Of course.
And to embrace those. I mean, there are things like hygiene practices, for example.
All right, we're going to get into them. We talk about honest communication, assertive behavior, self-compassion, and developing a good relationship with their bodies. But first, let's start at the first place, which is how to respect and express her feelings. She's supposed to be able to feel as if she can do that with mommy and with daddy.
With mommy and with daddy. So one of the things I usually tell parents is just to understand that we're first created sexual beings. That's the first thing. So there's nothing odd about the feelings that persons are going to experience during this time. And the sexual changes, the pubic hair, the hair underneath the arm. Girls will start menstruating. These are just common natural processes that we have to help them to understand and to accept. That it's just a part of the growth process.
Okay, and we have to accept it as well.
Right.
Because, boy, I mean, all of those things that you mentioned are denotative things, but they're kind of connotative implications that come along with it. I think is what freaks out a lot of the parents.
It's what makes parents have anxiety. And then parents tend to pass on these anxieties to their children. So you first have to accept. I know in my own family, my mother cried. I don't understand why when we transitioned that way, when we started our periods, my mom cried. And but we understood, if not from her, from our guidance and counseling classes, that this was natural. So it's important that parents just accept.
Did your mom have that discussion with you? I'm curious.
Well, she did, but she cried.
Okay.
She did.
Well,
she did. She had the discussion, and we got that little book from early, how a girl grows up.
Okay.
So we had that too. So that's the other thing. If parents feel a little shy, or if they feel they don't have the language, you're not capable, there are books out there that are age appropriate, that detail in simple ways what children should expect.
What about this positive relationship with her body? What are we talking about here?
Well, just accept the changes. Sometimes, or the research is showing that sometimes puberty comes on early, or the onset of puberty might be earlier, depending on body mass, so the amount of fat you have. In our society where image is everything, then children will have issues with self-image. It's very important for them to understand that we need to accept all body types, and we need to accept that, yes, your pelvic girdle, your hips are going to widen. It's just a part of the process. Breasts are going to come in. You're going to look differently.
Especially in this age of
girls.
social media,
And
when
especially in this age of social media where the images come and then there's bullying.
Yes.
It's very important for our young girls to accept who they are. And mummies and daddies are very instrumental part of that, helping their children to accept.
You've taken us right into the next one, which is dealing with bullies and predators.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, especially with social media, persons feel empowered to say just about anything and to comment on anything. But maybe one of the things our children need to also do is to get involved in other things. So social media is a part of this time. We can't necessarily shield our children from that.
Should we be trying at that stage?
We should monitor.
Okay.
We should monitor. We should monitor their engagements with social media.
Okay.
But get them involved in other things like sports, co-curricular activities. That will help to boost their self-esteem and just take some of the pressures off. They feel connected. They'll see other people going through the same things, and they'll you know, put their energies into other
also
areas,
give them a sense of
positive
belonging
areas.
to a group.
Absolutely.
That
Absolutely.
will help them build their confidence as well.
Absolutely.
I would have laughed about this a couple of years ago, but how to manage stress has become something that's very real
Absolutely.
in this day and age for our children, with the workload that they carry in school and everything else. So that's a discussion we need to have with them.
And the expectations.
Yes.
The expectations are so high. It's almost as if we expect our children to know everything all at once. We're not understanding that knowledge and the gaining and acquiring of skills is also a process.
Yeah.
And we must help our children in these regards. It is important to talk with them to find out, how are you feeling? Are you feeling pressured? Are you managing your workload? Is it that we need to cut back on some of the chores at home or cut back on some of the other engagements, not just the social engagements, but the co-curricular activities? There are children who are involved in just about everything at school.
And just to
manage the schoolwork, to create that balance.
Yes.
And importantly, just to have some me time, because with this stage also comes mood swings and all kinds of things, and that will also increase those kinds of imbalances. So we want to have the conversations. Boy, I say that so often with the children, to find out, talk to them, and listen.
Sometimes when I talk to them, because we think them don't understand and them can't express, and they're so intuitive.
They're very intuitive
and so articulate that sometimes we just have to start talking.
They are, but with a view to listen all the time. You have to listen. So that you can guide, because if you're not listening, you're going to miss some important information that you're going to need in order to guide them.
And listen and not judge.
Listen and not judge.
Gotta affirm them.
Yes.
How to understand money basics? Really? They have to understand money basics at this point?
You know.
Well, maybe. Piggy bank.
Well, yeah, because it's a part of their development. Is a part of them understanding too that sacrifices have to be made, and so maybe not all the interests we're going to be able to facilitate this term, but you have the conversation to say, okay, let us prioritize what the interests or what the things that we could support financially, and also help them to be responsible.
Okay.
Because we've been talking a bit about also just financial literacy in general too, and I think maybe as a people, we don't discuss money enough, certainly, and we really should have those conversations.
Yeah. Well, the earlier we have those discussions, the better, because especially our millennials are getting very savvy and stock exchange.
And based on how they're wired, they're very entrepreneurial.
I know.
And so it's very important for them to understand money.
So true. Yes. I find it interesting as we wrap it up that we're talking about the young girls this morning, but our boys have to deal with puberty too.
Yes.
That's a whole other ball game.
A whole other ball game. And they too have issues with image and self-concept. I think a lot of times we think this only affects our girls, but their chest hairs come in and their chest widen and all the other things that happen to boys, and they also need help to navigate, to understand when the voice breaks, as you call it, and they get the deeper voice comes in. They need to also understand what's happening and what it means, how they need to be more responsible, and our girls to be responsible at this important time of transitioning.
Okay, so if there are parents who are watching this morning who say, boy, I need some more information on this, because this is a discussion I need to have with my daughter or my son who's heading into high school, who's, where do we find the Parenting Commission?
Well, we're at 37 Arnold Road, right at the Canewood Center, Ministry of Education. My office is on the right of the security post just walking. We don't need an appointment to see us. And of course, I give my cell phone all the time. It is 382-8606. I answer all calls.
382-8606. You better get to a admin assistant for your phone today.
And the landline is 967-7977.
967-7977.
Yes,
Thank
and
you
these
for
days we
sharing
put
this information.
876 before
I know,
it. Yeah.
of course we do. Very useful, folks, if you're trying to have that discussion with your kids about this very important time in their lives. And the more we can talk to them is the more that they will trust us and share with us, and we can steer them away from certain mistakes. Appreciate you being here this morning.
Thank you
very
Thank
much for
you
this.
so much.
Casey Carr, Chief Executive Officer of the National Parenting Support Commission, on some skills to teach your 13-year-old daughter, but we did talk some more as well about what to do with our young men. Stay with us, please. We're going to discuss relaxing the office dress code for the summer. Is your office hot?
Oh, it's extremely hot.
And you're going to work into that jacket?
I know.
See, that's why we need to talk about it. We'll be right back with more. Soon come.